And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another OSR Tabletop with myself, GM Bloodworth or DM Bloodworth, depending on what kind of game system we'll be talking about tonight. And this is something I don't do very often, and I probably should do this more often, is just, an open chat, just shooting the breeze on whatever comes to the visitors' minds, whatever you want to talk about. We can be, strictly focused to the tabletop role playing hobby, or you're welcome to go outside of that and just have a chat about anything that really comes to your mind. I can already see that we have some people in here already, so my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Well, welcome to the channel. I've never seen that name before, so that is pretty cool. And I'm glad that you're finally able to catch a full live stream. Right from the start, you were the first person in. So, welcome again, and thanks for the gifted membership that you just gave to Roger, who is a great friend of the channel, and he is actually a convention organizer running his first convention this June, and that is going to be the Central New York RPG Convention. And although the dates are kind of slipping in my mind right now exactly when they are, let's see. Do a real quick announcement on that and see, because I already booked. So that is going to be, I do double side this thing. So that is going to be June 13th through the 15th in Utica, New York. Speaking of conventions, hey, Roger, and you happen to be here. Yeah, so welcome. And I missed another. So Grognard Piper. Hey, how's it going? Yet another name I haven't come across yet. So welcome, and I see you are a pipe smoker, which would certainly, when I smell pipe smoke, it always brings me back to my youth, because my father used to smoke a pipe, and it just brings me right back to when I was 5 or 6 or 7 years old. And became aware that he was a pipe smoker and everything, and it's I've always liked the smell of pipe smoke. Most other smokes, no, but pipe smoke, I've always actually enjoyed the smell of that, probably because of that connection. Uh, oh, that is formerly known as Mercurius. So, all right, that makes sense. So, what happened to your eardrum trumpet? So that's what I want to know. Um, and so June 14th through 15th. How come I have different dates? Let me double check. I have, now I'm scared. Um, I have confirmation. Da, 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 da. 13, 14, 15. Oh, I think I'm getting there the evening before. That's why I'm 13, 14, and 15. So I'm actually staying the 13th and the 14th, and I'm leaving on the 15th. That's this Sunday. So our numbers are right at least, but thanks. Um, so what was I saying now? Let's see. I'm here as long as these crazy kids. I have. Let me watch. Yeah. So I'm actually lone wolf tonight. So my wife and my kids, who is 22 and 19-year old, but they're still my kids. They're actually in New York City, looking at the tree and doing all kinds of stuff, and then they'll do some shopping and everything. So it's like a girls' weekend out. So I am solo for the night. Me and my family dog, and yeah, I just heard a little chime. I will be right back. Hold on a second. Let me get my cell phone with me. Let's see. My my garage camera just went off for some reason. That's why my dog looked up. So let me see. Um, I've commented on your videos before, but you've responded. But this is my first time catching you live. Great. Well, it's good to see you here, and glad to have you. And yes, it is. It is my. It was my pleasure serving the United States Army from 1990 to 1999. A lot of great people. Some of the greatest people I've known in my lifetime, and wish I could have gone a bit longer in it, but life and injuries kind of got in the way of that. But no, I certainly did enjoy my time, and it was a great pleasure, and happy to serve. Happy to serve all of you out there the best way that I could. So yeah, the kind of Saturday and Sunday most people are planning on showing up on Friday. It's okay. There is a bar, yes, and I will certainly be looking to sit back and have a few drinks and have a good meal, and that way I am up and ready to go the next morning, right from the jump. So looking forward to that. And if you have any news about, because I don't know if um, I don't know if I know badge sales went on, already went up, but I don't know if the events have started posting yet. I'm having a little sip of rum. My with his pipe smoke. I am currently drinking Bamboo, which is a um, which is from Barbados. It's a Barbados rum with like a hint of vanilla to it. So let's see. It's an old Tumblr name. Some people kept getting my former name wrong. Marcus, Marcius, Aulicus. All right, okay. Um, but okay, that's cool. So anyway, things going on. So I just reached out to the Hilton Hotel for Philadelphia Area Game Expo, or Page. You'll hear me refer to it as Page now, and made sure that I reserved a ground floor room, which I prefer. I prefer a ground floor room. That way, first of all, it's real quick to go in and out. Then, in between being at the convention hall and then running back if I have to, and it just shortens the travel time inside the hotel, especially since there's going to be um, over 1,000 people at this convention now. So if you were there last year and you were at the hotel last year, There was a point when they were down by one. They were down to just like one elevator at some point during that stay, and there was also a cheerleading competition going on at the same time. So waiting on that elevator became a real issue. And I learned from Rising Phoenix this past April that that was allowed. What's the matter? Put your head down. Talking to my dog. I learned from last April getting that ground floor room was so much easier and just better. It really did help out. Let me get my dog down from the bed. I'll be right back. Come here. You want that? Okay. Sorry about that. I'm home alone except for the dog, and now I'm getting interruptions from the dog. Can we get a shout out to the kids, Henry, Memphis, and Natalie, all of which play in my D&D group? Well, here's a shout out to Henry, Memphis, and Natalie. I really hope you're enjoying playing the hobby. Now, I'm assuming that Mercurius is a sorry, not Mercurius. So Grognard, you're their DM, which is awesome. If you're running for your kids, I could not get my kids to play when they were really stoked about Stranger Things, but in the end, they only liked Stranger Things because of the boys and not because of anything that they were actually doing. So I could not convince them, even the younger one, to play at all. Bella, Bella. I don't know what she's doing. She'll come around eventually. Yes, I will put the dog on. It is a Shih Tzu, and it is a she. Bella, come here. Come here. Nobody else is home. All right. I will get the dog and show. Come here. Come here. Come here. Stop. Stop. Wait. All right. So here is the dog, Bella. She is 11 years old, and she's a bit of a scutch. Here, look at here. Look. See? All right. Let me put her on the bed. All right. Hold on. All right. Lay down. So, wow, what a distraction. She's more distracting than my wife. So anyway, um, so some other things going on. So if you had caught my interview of Brandon Gilham, or Gillum, sorry, that's his real name, Brandon Gillum, from Runehammer Games. That was a great interview. I really enjoyed that, and it's a it was really interesting to hear what he had to say about the hobby and about conventions in particular. I was kind of surprised that he was like, oh, he's not really like a big fan, I guess, of conventions, even though he does go to them. But I think he much prefers to play in his shop, which he has a brick and mortar shop now, and I'm certainly going there before I head over to the hotel. So I'm going to be catching that at noon on Thursday. That would be January 16th, noon on January 16th. I'm hoping I'm getting that date right. And I will be there and check out his store, probably pick up a few things. I just picked up the PDF and the pre-order for volume 2 of Crown and Skull. So I'm really looking forward to digging into that as well. I'm expecting the hardcover to come out sometime, I think, later in not January, but probably in February. Maybe it'll come as early as January, but waiting to see it. So let's see. I am a DM. They convinced me to run 5e for a while, but I'm going to convert them to Castles and Crusades, which is a far superior to 5e. And I agree, absolutely. It's just a lot of fun, and you can, I've been using Greyhawk for Castles and Crusades, and I've been using Gary Gygax's Iggsburg, the Eastmark, for Castles and Crusades, and I kind of equally like using them both. But Greyhawk, I'm just so much more familiar with it, and I'm going to probably pick up Joseph Block's Greyhawk book from Drive Through RPG. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can bring that up, because I love to give him and his content a shout out. So it is BRW, I believe is, yes. So let's see if I have it. So he writes Adventures Dark, and let's see if he has Greyhawk in here yet on Drive-Thru. If it's not on Drive-Thru, I think it's in DM's Guild. Let's see. He has the Castle of the Mad Archmage. Let's see. No, I'm not seeing it yet. I forget. So let's see if I could just do Greyhawk. Let's see what comes up. Nope. It might only be on. I know it was mentioned. It might only be on DM's Guild, which I thought was Drive-Thru RPG, but maybe it's not anymore. Let's try DM's Guild. All right. All right, let's see, not just that, but let's do, and the Greyhawk Campaign Guide. Joseph Block, all right. So this is, it's PDF only. So let me close this. Let me get you back here. So this is This is what I was talking about. So here we have the Greyhawk campaign guide. It's already a gold seller. So Joseph Block. So that's how you can find it. Joseph Block. It is only in PDF. And here we have the geographical nomenclature, the flow of the history, the technology, the history of the Falanis, Flanaes, however you pronounce that. Um, the calendar and seasons, weathers, inhabitants of the Flanaes, detailed descriptions of nation states and geographical features, the cosmology, and the new map. All right. Accompanying the Greyhawk Player's Guide is recommended for players interested in creating characters in this world, and the Cleric's Guide is specifically for cleric characters. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of his stuff. Um, I'm not sure if these can be done in physical copy, but if they are eventually done in physical, then I would certainly look to pick those up. Because, like I say, his stuff is awesome. I highly, highly recommend it. I'm waiting for my second edition Adventures Dark and Deep to come out as well. So, uh, great stuff. Okay, and you used to have a hi Bella. I used to have a dog called Bella too. Yes, um, yeah, it's a good name for a female dog. So let's see. That was a fun interview. Well, thank you, Cal. Yeah, that was. I was so like I don't know what my expectations were, but that certainly was not it. In a very positive way. I mean, not that I was thinking it was going to be a bad interview, or it was just so outside the box. And I know I mentioned that so many times, but yeah, he was very almost philosophical with how he views the hobby and gaming in general and such, which that's what really surprised me. Um, but yeah, it was a great interview. I can't wait to meet him in person. Um, I'm not scheduled in any of his games, and I'm pretty sure he's not in any of mine, which is unfortunate. But I think he's only going on Sunday. I am seeing his seminar on Sunday. He's doing a seminar with Kelsey Dion from Shadow Dark and one other individual. So I will be sitting in on that. You're using your own setting. When I'm running 5e, I constantly saying, "Why in God's name are these so many rules?" Yeah, it's something I recently heard a comment from somebody talking about, you know, if you're, you hear both arguments. It's like if you're not running the rules differently at your table, you're doing it wrong, and if you are running the your the rules at your table as they are written, you're doing it wrong. It's like both sides. It's like you can't win either way with that argument. It's like you have those that say, well, you're supposed to follow the rules as written, and those that say that you're not doing a great job if you are. That's the kind of challenge that there is in the hobby, where you'll never get those two sides to meet in the middle. There's like no middle ground with those individuals. So yeah, so it's kind of it's a useless argument to have, I think, at this point, because it's been had 1,000 times, and I don't think anyone has ever been convinced to go from one side of that argument to the other. Um, so I'm waiting for Adventures Dark and Deep too. Yeah, yeah. I already got the PDFs, and I'm just waiting for the hardcovers, which will probably come out sometime. I think he said around March they should be coming out. The world I'm setting to is Gyra. You wouldn't have to work too hard to unravel that and figure out who is it in tribute to? Um, or Gyra. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing it. Um, so, hmm, I'm struggling with it. Um, Maybe after a few more sips of my rum, I'll grasp it. Because when I see, I think of Gaia, which is like Earth and that kind of thing. Gygax could be Guy and then Ra. I'm not sure what the Ra is, but anyway, let's see what else has been going on. So, like I said, I've been preparing for my. I've been prepping for my convention. I have. I changed up my schedule a little bit as well, so I have dropped off my gangbusters adventure that I was going to run. Now I've run this adventure. Um, I've run this adventure, and it's one of my best-selling published adventures. It's called Whiskey Creek Runs Red, and it's an adventure that was written to have kind of like a play on words because it was set in Prohibition era New York City, and um, and during the Red Scare as well, and that's where the Runs Red kind of comes in as a double entendre. It has two different meanings in the game, in the adventure as well, and 1 month out, the table was still not full. Not I mean, no one at the table for that. Yet all three of my Shadow Dark sessions were filled with waiting lists. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to drop this one, and I asked Ron from Page to just drop that. And then I caught a Castles and Crusades game that I'd actually like to play in. So I am now playing in three different game sessions, and I'm running three different game sessions, and then I'm going to a couple of seminars here and there. So I have a nice good mix of things. I'm playing in two different. Maybe I'm playing in four different game sessions. I'm playing in. I'm playing in a Oriental Adventures game run by Zeb Cook. So you can't get better than that, right? And then I'm playing in a Castles and Crusades adventure being run by Chuck Cumbo from Troll Lord Games. So that's like an official game running of it. So I'm really excited about that. Then I have another Castles and Crusades game that I'm running through with, I'm being run through with a game master that I think I've played with before. I certainly recognized his name, but in that group as well, I believe Sly Flourish or Mike Shea, and I'm guessing his wife are also in that game as well. So, and then finally, I'm playing in a game session that is. That Nerdarchist Ned is running, and then finally, I'm playing a board game, like a demo board game, Sunday morning, and then a seminar Sunday later morning, and that seminar is with Brandon Gillum and Kelsey Dayon. Kelsey Dayon. So really looking forward to that convention. It's going to be very, very exciting. Yeah. Um, Switch the Y and the A. All right. So it would be Gary. No, yeah, it would be Gary. All right, gotcha. So yeah, Zeb Cook, I'm really, really excited because the last convention I played with one of those individuals, legendary individuals was Frank Metzner, and then before him was Alan Hammock, who ran Ghost Towers of the Inverness, and that was just phenomenal to be running it, and he was the one running it. It was so exciting to actually see how the person who wrote the adventure actually runs it, and it's just such a great time. Hey, Decado, how's it going? I did kind of like an impromptu live stream, just a bullshit stream. Whatever anybody wants to bring up, you're certainly welcome to do so. I don't do enough of these as well, just don't do enough of these. So, and well, thank you, Mercurius, again. And congratulations to Judd. Judd picking up the free membership as well. And Judd is in here a lot, so hopefully he's in here tonight and he will check it out. So anyway, uh, if anybody wants to jump in, I am going to open this up. Remember, this is an open, not share. Sorry. If anyone wants to jump in, you're welcome to jump in the chat. Bring up any topic you wish. It could be tabletop role playing. It could be it could also be anything that's remotely related, or computer RPGs as well. I'm getting right back into Skyrim again, and now I'm playing for the first time, and everybody's like, "What? You've never played a stealth archer before?" And I was like, "No, I never played a stealth archer before," and talk about a really easy mode of play, very lethal, very quickly too. So that's pretty cool stuff. So there is the stream, so you can jump in anytime and just chat with about whatever your plans are in the next couple of weeks to months as far as conventions are concerned, and what other things, what other kind of news in the gaming hobby that we all share that you would like to talk about. And we have our first person here. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, good. And sound quality perfect. So, and cheers to you. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Have one of those for me. I don't really drink anymore, so
Yeah. It's the only thing I still do drink. I stopped everything else. So rum is the only thing that I drink, and it's once in a while. But mostly for live streams. That's like the only time I actually. It's the only time I actually have a shot now is that, and then certain holidays and such, weddings and whatnot. But yeah, that's my thing of choice.
excellent.
Yeah. So let's see. So text Ernie quite often. All right. I've been reading his dad's Gord the Rogue novels. He's been lending me tips and hints. Yes, I have the Gord novels right here.
And here's the one I'm reading right now.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just started that one.
Yeah. The first one. Yes.
No, that's that one's actually his fifth one.
The City of, which one was that? That was the City of Hawks?
Yeah, he had two that he released under the Greyhawk band.
Oh, yes. You're right.
And then this is the third under the, hey, sorry. Hey guys, I'm on live with them, so come down on the volume a little bit. Sorry. Crazy kids.
No,
Hey,
you know what?
Sorry.
Like I said, my kids are downtown Manhattan, looking at the tree, probably freezing their butts off. And let's see if they're still down there. They've been down there like all day. So, but anyway, yeah, no, kids are great. And you actually got them to play, which is something I could not manage to do. Couldn't get them.
They have a blast doing it. Hey guys, so they're going crazy that I'm on here with you. But so one of our they're really getting into it. One of our most recent adventures, one of the characters is a bard, and he started role playing like he was singing a song, and it was pretty bad. But then
Mm.
and it was one of the adults in the game because we have a mix at our table, and
Right.
um, all the kids just started joining it, joining in, chanting and singing like a little background to it, and uh,
Nice.
it was pretty cool. That's why I said, you know what, if I have to use 5e, guys. So anyway, sorry. Uh,
That's a
but if I got to use 5e to get them interested and get them into the gaming world,
mm.
I,
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And whatever gets them in. I gave my niece is 24 years old now, and she was playing 5e when throughout college, and she's in the anime industry. So I gave her all of my 5e books. I was like, once I divested myself of 5e, I was like, I'm done with this, done with WotC, and I was like, here, you take these, and they were all first printings, of the three core rule books and the Sword Coast Guide. So I was like, here you go. You're welcome to have them. But when I go to Page in January, I'm going to bring both of my copies of Shadow Dark. So I have the regular version and the collector's version. I'll have Kelsey sign them both, hopefully, and then one of those I'm going to give to my niece again, and let her start running Shadow Dark, because that's a great game for kids too. Um, if they like 5e, they'll like Shadow Dark.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So that's one I would recommend. And you can get the PDF for that for free, like the thing, and just let the kids check it out, and that's simple enough for them to run.
Sweet. Yeah, yeah. It was funny because about the whole 5e thing. Obviously, like I said, I text Ernie and I sent him a picture of everybody gaming, and he's like, that's fantastic.
Mm,
And obviously, he's partial to first edition. And I was like, I had to use 5e to get them to play, and he was like, it doesn't
right.
even matter, they're playing.
Yeah. 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 No, there's a lot of game systems out there that are very easy for, kids or teenagers or whatever to get into. Lot, much less layers of, game mechanics for them to learn than 5e. I mean,
Uh,
even Castles and Crusades is much more simple system
I
than 5e.
I was gonna say I totally agree with the Castles and Crusades being easier, and I'm slowly every day. I don't know what's going on behind me, but but yeah, like every time after a game. Hey, I'm trying to talk. Sorry, that's what happens when you got a pile of kids.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
but after every gaming session, I'm always showing them the Castles and Crusades, and I'm like, it's so much easier. And I tell them how, hey, remember when we did this in the game we just played? Well, this is how it would have worked in Castles and Crusades. And
Mm.
one of our players, Colin, he's not here tonight, but he was like, that does sound easier. And I'm
Yeah, no, I think it's a much simpler system because the action economy is a lot simpler too. It's like you're going to get like one minor, one main action, and that's it. There's no other multiple layers and second winds and all that kind of stuff coming into play.
and not all these subclass.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Yeah, his name isn't coming up. I see what they're. Yeah. So this is Grognard Piper.
Yep, yep. But yeah, like I'm like, there's no subclasses, and they're asking me, oh well, why don't we, or why aren't there subclasses? I'm like, you don't need them. You role play the type of fighter you
Yeah.
want to. You,
Yeah.
you role play the type of rogue you want to be, even though it's a thief. Um, you role play the type of, like the bard. It's the best version of the bard I've ever found because it gives you the option. Are you going to be poetic? Are you going to be more like a scald storyteller? Are you going to be
Right.
musical? Um, and the barbarian not being just a rage monster, it's more of a true barbarian in Castles and
Yeah.
Crusades.
It's more of a cultural build of it. That's something that is, I believe it's Adventures Dark and Deep does that really well too. Um, they have the different. He has the different types of barbarian, and does Crown and Skull do the same thing? I think Crown and Skull does the same thing as well. But yeah, you're right. It's like, clerics aren't just heal bots in most games. Barbarians aren't just you know, rage generators in most games either. It's like they're so one dimensional. I think in 5e, where you have much more room for creativity and choice and play style with other game systems. But anyway, let's see. I have a question here, and that is, I use because of all of my home gaming is actually online, so it's all VTTs, and I primarily use Roll20, but just like the bare bones of it, and I use like the whiteboard portion of it, like just like an open map kind of thing, and um, I mean, I like the character sheets that are fully functioning character sheets on there, like the one for Fallout. The one for Fallout works really well for it, but in a lot of the other things in VTTs, I think are unnecessary. Like I don't like the dynamic lighting in Roll20, which the last time I tried it was still glitchy as hell. So I don't use that. I don't even bother with that. Um, Maybe it was Hyperborea has the Barbarian and the Berserker, and I forget which one actually has just the different cultural um, views, the different cultural types of barbarian thrown in there, and it could actually be Castles and Crusades as well. I think so many of them do just a better job of it. Um, than that I'm conflating them now. I've probably seen it in about three different systems that just handles barbarians a lot better.
And in response to the person who posted about VTTs,
Hmm.
every Friday night I play with some friends online.
Yeah.
We don't even use a VTT. One of our friends that has a his own YouTube and everything, he sends us a StreamYard link, and
Hmm.
we just use that to game. And um and we all take turns GMing. Like we'll do 10-ish sessions to do a story. So
Mm.
we've done like I run with that group. I run Star Trek Adventures, and
All right.
I'm actually getting. It's going to be my turn again starting this coming Friday. So doing our second season of Star Trek Adventures. Uh, Another guy used a completely unheard of system to run like a DC Comics Elseworlds kind of game.
Oh, cool.
And then we played a little D&D, but set in the Conan setting.
All right.
And then we just finished up playing Vampire the Masquerade, but the old second edition from the 90s.
Right.
So that's been pretty fun. But like I said, not a VTT. It's just using StreamYard, and
Right.
we do it like we're at a table. It's we're all rolling our own hard dice, and
Yeah. Well, back in the day when Google Plus used to give you a dice mechanic, it gave you a dice roller, and you could import maps and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, Google Plus was like probably the best gaming, um, you know, uh, whatever you call that, best gaming program that they had out there. Plus, it directly linked to message boards and all that kind of stuff too, which I really liked that dynamic as well. It's just bizarre to me how Google just dropped it. They just dumped it like it was, and it was by far better than Roll20 at the time. I mean, they literally cleared the way for Roll20 to become what it became, and they were the dominant in that thing. I don't know why they just stopped doing it. I guess because there was no way to monetize it in the way that they created it. That's the only thing I can think of, was that they didn't have any means of making money from it because of just the way it was programmed.
Yeah, it could be. This day and age, it's all about that nickel.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to jump in and talk about anything, there is the link. And so some other things that have been going on. I try to avoid all controversies that come up, because controversies come up, almost on a weekly basis anyway. But so I have tried to stay away from any of the really negative stuff going on, especially stuff going back and forth between people who I actually follow and like, and and respect for the way that they're doing things and such. So I don't get involved with that kind of stuff. So yeah, if they're, that's the one thing I would like to avoid. If anyone's going to bring up that kind of stuff, I'm, not interested in jumping into anything going on between, different cons, or guests, or that kind of thing. That was one of the things I actually brought up with Brandon from Runehammer during that interview, was that I've gone to conventions, and I've met people. When you meet people in person, they're like a totally different person than what we are online, and I'm the first to admit that as well. I'm a very, very different person in person than I am online sometimes. Although I try to be welcoming, and a good natured person and everything. Almost like probably like 90% of the time, but the other 10%, I could be a real a-hole, and I get that. I always like, I'll be the first to admit that. But I met people at conventions that either had me blocked on various social media or whatever, or I had blocked them, and then meeting them in person, it was like, all right, you're not as much of a jerk as I thought you were, and vice versa. Because people just lose that anonymity. Anonymity. Blah, I'm not going to be able to say that tonight. People just lose that. When you're in person, you gotta remember, it's like the old Robert E. Howard thing, right? You know, uh, barbarians are much more civil than civilized man. Because you never know when they'll tear your arm off and club you over the head with it. Kind of thing. It's like you're just not. You're not in a situation where you're protected by distance and a screen and such. Um, so let's see.
I was just gonna say I don't want to wear out my welcome, so I was gonna jump off here and let the kids.
Oh, you're welcome to stay as long as you like, but if you have to run, that's cool too. Um, so, any conventions you're going to upcoming?
No, and honestly, I've never really been to any gaming conventions. I'd like
Right,
to. Um, I live in the Chicagoland area, so I'm not even far from GaryCon,
right,
and it's just like I recently just looked at the to maybe go to GaryCon this coming year, and then I realized I saw like the 1 day passes were already all gone, and
really.
yeah,
Oh, well, yeah, because it's kind of late. They're probably fully booked or
oh,
very, very close to it. Um,
but
yeah, if you're in the Chicago area, I mean, there's other ones that are coming up. I think that there's some in well, there's Minnesota. There's Dave Con, which is probably not that far either, and that is in Minneapolis, I believe. There's one in Michigan, which is probably not that far for you either, and that's Wizard Con, is in Michigan. So you have those two there. Um, you have other ones other than Gary Con in Wisconsin, which probably aren't that far. Um,
with GaryCon, I mean, it's in Wisconsin, but it's like Lake
yeah,
Geneva, just over the border into Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah. VentureCon. If you're into if you're into Venture Satanis stuff, VentureCon is in Madison, Wisconsin, which is
Yeah.
not that far for you either, and that comes up in June or July, something like that.
Okay.
Um, but
Madison's
yeah,
about 2 hours.
and that's going to be a small con, so you're going to get nothing but gaming there. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's, and probably a good time. I would love to go out to that one, but it's a 15-hour drive for me, you know, and it's one way. It's a 15-hour drive. So I'm like, nah, that's, 3 to 4 hours is my driving, distance pretty much. And I refuse to, I shouldn't say I refuse to fly to a convention, but it is just so hard. New York airports are just so tedious to to come in and out of that. It's just not a great option. Um, I'd have to have an all expenses paid, for me to say, okay, I'll go through, the airport fiasco of going to it.
Yeah, I think. See, I drive for a living, so the idea of driving like up to Minnesota or even
Right.
Michigan, I'm just like, no, not.
Oh yeah. How far is because Roger's running a con, his first one in Utica, New York. So I don't know how far Utica is for you. Um, it's probably not crazy distance between Chicago and Utica. It's probably less than 10 hours.
Yeah, it's well, the only time I ever drove to New York was um several years ago now, and I had to drive to New York City, and that took something like 13 hours.
Yeah, Utica is probably about 4 or 5 hours closer.
Oh, okay. So it's like more of a like within.
Let's see. Let's see. Driving directions, and we'll do from Chicago, you said,
Yeah.
to Utica. 10 hours and 51 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, yeah, you're driving all the way through. Um, Utica's not that far into New York, I guess. You're going right by like Rochester, and you're kind of close to Toronto and cutting across, and then Syracuse, and then Utica. You're running all the way through Ohio, obviously. You're just following the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
It's all one highway. It's all I 90. The
Oh,
entire stretch is all I 90 the entire way.
that's uh that's an easy
Yeah.
easy as far as directions go. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there was no turns or anything. It's 100% I 95.
Fill the tank up and go.
Yeah. 726 miles
Oh,
via I 90. I 90. I 90. So 726 I 90. Thanks. I played mostly Call of Cthulhu in person at cons. Appreciate the channel. The Mifrog content reviews got me interested. Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't run Mifrog in a long time, and I was writing several adventures with it. Um, I have the newest version of it, and I just got the Recon Quest, which is like a, a simpler form of it as well. But I like 4.0, and I like the 2.7. I'm talking about Mifrog. They're the different editions of it. I like the 2.7 lore of it. So I would probably use those both in combination, and maybe someday I'll get around to writing, more adventures for it, and even running it again. But for the most part, I got too many other games that are just, constantly getting bombarded with new games. I was like, oh, I want to try this and run this or play this or whatnot. So, but I will eventually get around back to that. So I'm glad that you're getting into like some of the oldest content on my channel, because that's going back like 8 years or so on the channel, back to my earliest. My first year on this channel, I only did like 36 videos, the entire year, and then it was really not until like the second year, and well into the second year that I was like, you know what, I'm going to put a lot more time to doing this. Um, so yeah, it's been a great, I'm into my seventh, what I consider to be my seventh solid year on the channel. So almost like 1,450 videos since I started. So, a lot of content out there
I think
and a lot of different games to play.
I think what originally got me onto your channel, watching your videos,
Hmm.
and it's been a while because I've been watching your videos a couple of years now. But it would have had to have either been Castles and Crusades or you talking about like old like BX kind of material,
Oh, okay.
or even first edition stuff, because I like that older vibe kind of those games,
Oh, the AT&D stuff. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been trying to cover, I'm about like 20 some odd videos into my AD&D second edition stuff. So I just have a few more splat books to go through, and then the retro clone for that. I'll go through that, but I'm not doing like real deep dives on those until people start saying, "Hey, you know what? Can you spend more time going over the Ninja's Handbook?" It's like, okay, I'll do that then if you're, specifically asking for it. But for the most part, I'm just trying to do like a real survey, look through everything, and then, like I said, later on, go into a deeper dive if anybody asks. Castles and Crusades, I got so much stuff coming from Troll Lord Games over the next, couple months. I think something like 12 to 14 more hardcovers coming from them, from, different mythoses to the equipment guides, the three different equipment books. Um, then there's then also the Gary Gygax re-release stuff as well. So I got like seven of those, or six or seven of those. There's one person author I won't buy that one from. So like, no, sorry, I'm not touching that guy. That guy's stuff. But everything else is like, got to have it. And then I just bought. I'm hoping it comes actually before. Hopefully, it comes before Christmas, so my kids can give me that. Um, is the Amazing Adventures, the three new hardcovers for Amazing Adventures, which they re-released as a second edition, or second printing, I should say, and it's OGL-less, so no OGL in it, and they just changed the thing. Same thing with Castles and Crusades. They reforged. Basically, they just made it no more OGL, and I just got all 10 Kickstarter PDFs the other day, which was my last video talking about the 10 that I got. So really excited about all that stuff coming down the pike as well. And then like I said, I just ordered volume 2 of Crown and Skull and Adventures Dark and Deep. Second edition's coming out soon. Like I should have that by March. So just a lot of stuff, tons of stuff.
so I wanted to ask you. I kind of thought about it. The Castle Keeper's Guide for Castles and Crusades. It's a really cool book. It's almost entirely optional rules and advice.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, what I was curious, when you're running Castles and Crusades, what options do you use out of the Castle Keeper's Guide, if any of them?
Originally, I was using option 5 of the critical hits, and fumbles tables. And initially, we were like really, really liking it. And I actually ported it over into my AD&D first edition campaign as well, and it worked better in AD&D First Edition than it did in Castles and Crusades because, believe it or not, Castles and Crusades is a much more brutal system,
Hmm.
just naturally, than AD&D First Edition was. And most people would probably argue that AD&D First Edition is a brutal, a brutal form of Dungeons and Dragons to begin with. So, so I use I use a different set of optional rules for from that, but the DMs or DM's guide, the Castle Keeper's Guide. I just like having it because every once in a while it'll give me an idea for something. But do I use any rules like straight out of there, optional rules straight out of it? Probably not straight out, but certainly influenced by.
I after looking at it over and over, and I think there's a lot of great options on it.
Hmm.
I kind of went back, and we use, or we will be using, the seventh printing, or what I have, and I actually have several table copies also, because I
Hmm.
wanted to keep to the same printing in order to, that way the players are looking at the exact same book I am. And I my thought process was, well, if this was good, just the player's handbook was good enough for Gary when he was doing things for Castle of Crusades, this will work for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's you only need two books to run it, and only one book to play it.
And I
So
and I want
that's the good thing about it.
I wanted to point out, I've seen a lot of people commenting on different YouTube channels that, and saying on their own channels, that those older printings only go to 12th level, and that's not true. They go to up to 20th level.
Yeah.
Tells you how to go beyond 12th level with your hit points and everything like that. And if they actually read the classes, it says what you get at things beyond it, and all the spells are listed to 20th level. So it does get you pretty high up there on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey Max, how's it going? Max is Max is Max is in a bit of a kerfuffle with another YouTuber out there. It's like once you mention him, there's five videos to come. It's the kind of thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but Max does. Um, Yeah, there's at least one other YouTuber out there that if you don't mention him for a couple of weeks, he'll start making like a series of like three videos, um, bringing not never bringing people up by name, but just talking about the OSR in general. And then if you make a mention of him, then there's five videos to follow. Five response videos. So it's all attention grabbing and everything. But um, yeah, but it's been a long time. Since you've been here. Yeah, and it's been a long time since I've been on your channel too. There's just so many. There's so many channels, going on, and Friday nights. Like you used to do your Friday night chill stream, and actually, I forget. I run. I play in a game actually every other Friday anyhow. But I was looking. I was gonna start watching your, well, you don't call them a chill stream anymore, but I was going to start watching it, Max. The other day, I was like, I just don't know how you do like 5+ hours of live stream. That's just crazy. Although it reminds me that the first time that I was on your live stream and we went on for at least that long, and I swear I thought I needed back surgery after that. I was I was a mess after that long thing. Yes, his latest vid was shared earlier. It's lame again. Yeah, yeah. And now this'll because he's come up in a live stream now, and so now it'll come up. But anyway, I think that's the kind of drama farming. Yes, yeah, it is absolutely drama farming from he who must not be named. Well, now he was named, so be prepared for five more videos. Bringing it up. Oh, I was named. I was spoken about. Um, it doesn't make a difference either way. I try not to put too much energy into into those like really negative individuals that are in our hobby. um, I don't put too much time into looking at any of those like delusional takes either about oh, this is a D&D centric video because I said so. you know Not that it has anything to do with, I'm looking at a 69 Chevelle, and Dungeons and Dragons is being mentioned in a 69 Chevelle, and all you're looking at is a 69 Chevelle. It's like, what? It's like no connection whatsoever, but that constitutes D&D content on that particular channel. So very, very weird stuff.
I don't know that
Um,
I don't know who you're talking about, but it
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. No, there's
But
some YouTube people out there, and no, it's not a derailing at all. This is just this is my Saturday,
oh
my
no,
Saturday night open chat, and we can go Saturday night shit show if we wish. So you can bring up anything you want
but,
during this stream.
but what I was gonna say is like my opinion is like we're all gamers. We should all be trying to be.
Yeah,
I mean, you think back to because you're a Gen Xer also,
yeah.
and when we were younger, we were the guys that got made fun of for playing D&D and tabletop
Yeah,
role
or
in
just like
general.
nerdy stuff. You know what? I grew up on Long Island, and like I said, certainly Gen X. I was born in '67, so definitely Gen X. And I started playing D&D around like '78 ish, let's say, and and it was so strange because there was. The school was, my middle school and high school were very cliquey, but the nerdiest of kids really didn't get picked on because everybody else needed them to help them do their homework,
Yeah,
kind of thing. It was like, and it was also at the height of like, everybody was really into computers because they were brand new, and we had computer programming in our middle school and high school, and um, you know, there was just you could you could actually kind of straddle different cliques in my school, at least. You could straddle different cliques, and there wasn't any real picking on because, oh, you're being picked on because you're a nerd, or you're being picked on because you were something like there weren't too many goths back then. We were pre-goth, right? Or maybe there was a couple. There might have been like some punks or whatever like that. But if they smoked pot, then they were in with the stoner crowd anyway. So it was like it was just a straight like a time when we didn't have that kind of thing. We had bullying, of course. You had kids getting bullied on, but I never experienced it. Oh, you play D&D, so I'm going to pick on you. That didn't happen. Um, you know, Not based on that. It was more based on um, just different things. It was weird. It was a weird time, growing up, and I think kids would have a hard time understanding how clicky and non-clicky could be at the same time. It was like the clicks weren't automatically opposed to each other,
right.
you know, back in the '70s and the '80s. Um, so it was just a really unique and my thing too, Max. So you just might have been in a different place. Our football team kids, especially in the high school, um, I don't know, they would pick on you because you were, potentially smaller than them or whatever. There wasn't that much around, but the caliber of football players that I actually went to school with. I mean, I went to school. Jumbo Elliott New York Giant, graduated from my high school the year before I did. You know what I'm saying? And the sports teams in in my school district were were top notch sports teams. Because it was such a large school too. We had 5,000. My graduating class was 1,465 students. That was one grade. So they had huge sports programs with very very professional minded coaches. So we didn't have football players treating other students very poorly because they'd get kicked off the freaking team. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then when I started playing, I was junior varsity hockey. So that's how I was able to, that's why I said like cross clicks. I was both, a quasi jock and a quasi nerd. Wasn't great at either, but good enough to fit into both. To a certain level. I didn't make varsity, but I made junior varsity. So the 10th grade, I was able to do it. But yeah, we just didn't have that kind of stuff going on. And the satanic panic, I mean, my parents couldn't give a shit. Well, less. I mean, that also was not a New York thing, at least not in my experience, because we weren't in the Bible Belt, or we weren't in that kind of a culture. Myself and my siblings, we were very feral. It was like you're out of the house by 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekend, and you're not expected to be back in the house until dinner time, and then you go back out again, and you had to be back in by 10 o'clock. That was it. So we literally spent about 10 hours a day, out in the wilderness, out on our own kind of thing, and not expected to return to the house,
Yeah.
until that dinner bell rang.
What Legion said there on his last comment about that he was the
Sure.
D&D nerd, but also was on the football team and he wasn't safe. My friend Bill, who's from New Jersey, he said the same thing. Like he played D&D, but he did not tell his teammates that he played D&D. And which I never played football or anything. I was just a nerd in high school. But
Yeah.
what I was going to say though is the thing that made us nerds back in those days are mainstream and cool now. So now we're the cool kids finally.
Yeah. 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 Again, I mean, certainly, I'm sure that there's some were. I'm sure that some people did have that kind of negative experience. Like I said, my parents didn't keep track of what we were doing. You know, not at all. Um, my father used to work like 16 hours a day. So the last thing he was going to do was come home and worry about what game I'm playing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like just not happening.
Then I've heard that the Satanic Panic, all it did was boost sales for D&D because the minute you try to tell kids what they can or can't do, they're going to run out and do it.
Yeah. Now, college, I didn't go to college until I started college in '86. Well, I did some college in high school. I did some college in 12th grade. So I kind of split my day. I did, morning 12th grade and then afternoon college. And then I worked full time as well. So, um, and maybe that's why, because most of my friends were work friends at the time. So I had very little connection. Like when I was in high school, I was in high school for like an hour and a half, in the morning, and then for 12th grade, and then I went off to college and I took two classes in college, and then I got home, got to my job at 3 o'clock, and I worked the 3 to 11 shift, and that was my entire 12th grade was just, that kind of a schedule. So I didn't even have, and college, I treated college like a job. It's like punching in and punching out. I went in, went to my class, left immediately. Um, Very little interaction on the college campus outside of just walking to class and walking back to my car, kind of thing. So um, then in '90, I joined the military and never played in the military, which is something I know like other people, particularly Luke Gygax, and I mean, of course, he's going to end up playing it. But I know a lot of people like, oh yeah, we played D&D in the army. I was like, not in my, no one in my unit that I knew of was playing. I mean, we used to play cards and shoot dice and that kind of thing, but never did I see in the 8 years that I was in the army. Never did I see anyone playing D&D or any role playing game for that matter.
And once again,
Played a lot of PlayStation, but nothing else.
once again, thank you for your service too, man. My my grandfather was a World War II veteran, Korean War veteran, and my mother's brother, who I never got to meet, he was sadly killed in Vietnam. And so I have nothing but respect for military, man. When I first time I heard you were a veteran, dude, I was like, this guy's he's all right.
No, I appreciate that. Like I said, it was a great pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Now I of course had a very very different experience than my father, who fought in a real war compared to what I faced. But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Um, and like I said, I cannot compare to my father's experience. I actually started reading a book written by the son of one of the officers in my father's command, and reading about that. He was a combat engineer. He was a radio man in particular, communications tech sergeant. But they fought all across across France and into Germany. Um, you know, Liberated several concentration camps along the way. So he got a chance to see that kind of, atrocity going on. 19 years old, came home with a full head of gray hair, kind of experience, and, was shot, so earned his Purple Heart, um, and, lost a couple buddies while he was there. And, just had an experience that he did not speak of
My
to us
my
until I joined in 1990. So he was in 44, just the last 2 years, basically. He was there from 44 to 46. And never spoke about his military experience until I told him I just enlisted, and he was like, all right, here, this is what you need to do, and basically told me, some of his experiences, the first time he killed somebody, and the fact that it was maybe a 13-year-old German soldier that he killed. And then the first time one of his buddies was killed, and then the time that they all got pinned down, and like five or six of them were killed in that fight. And it was just you know um, just fighting across the Rhineland campaign, Battle of the Bulge, he was all through the most brutal part of the war, pushing across Germany. Once they crossed the German border, it became really, really nuts. So it's mine was 6 weeks in on the Saudi Iraqi border, and just taking in Iraqi prisoners, that were voluntarily turning themselves in every freaking morning,
yeah,
and the scariest thing I guess we had to deal with was scuds flying overhead. You know, Never had to worry about them actually hitting us because it was so inaccurate. But it was just like, oh, I hope they don't shoot that one down because it's above us right now. And then the debris would come down on top of us. but for the most part, I mean, it's my unit only lost two people, and that was because they flipped their Humvee, probably fucking around, and that was the only two people that we lost, and you know, just nowhere near the same experience that my father had. So um, now others, of course, had a much different experience than I did. Being only there for 6 weeks. I mean, it was like boom, boom, done. Kind of thing. It was like, all right, who wants to go home? It was like, all right, it sucks here. It's too fucking hot. Kind of thing. Um, but I was both a gunner, I was military police, and it was logistics. So the logistics thing is what got me home a lot faster because all right, you need to help us get the rest of us over there too. So we had to be on both sides of the both sides of the theater there, and so I was like, all right, I'll volunteer to go back. You know, um, hated being a heat casualty. 126 degrees is no freaking fun. No freaking fun at all.
I can't
Um,
imagine.
Not when you have a hard time hydrating. So it was not a fun experience as far as that was concerned. Let's see. Let me get back to some of the comments here. Let's see. In CNY, I got some questions like, should you be doing this? This isn't the same thing, is it? Things like, so in central New York, but I never got shot down. Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, so I was listening to heavy metal. I was smoking cigarettes, and the only thing my mother was afraid of was the pot. That's what you call it, the pot. Don't do the pot. But certainly drinking, and that was the only other thing that my mother was worried about was because my grandmother on her side was an alcoholic, so she was like, you've got it in your genes. So there I am, like 13, 14 years old, and smoking and drinking once in a while, and listening to heavy metal. Believe me, D&D was like the last thing she was worried about. It was like everything else going on, at the time. Probably more so the drinking was probably a greater concern than anything else.
That Metallica, I can't even understand the words they're saying.
Oh no, it was Ozzy Osbourne for Iron Maiden, Ozzy Osbourne, and Judas Priest and Wasp and Twisted Sister and just the whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
I wasn't so much of a hair band person, but I like the late '70s, early '80s stuff.
the good stuff.
Hmm.
I opened up for Ozzy's guitar player Zach Wild. I've opened up for his band and the bands I've been in the past.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we're on the same page with some of that metal.
Yeah, TMT. Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of Call of Cthulhu back then too, and Call of Cthulhu was, far worse as far as the horror and occult and all that kind of stuff compared to D&D. It was far more tied to the occult than Dungeons and Dragons was. By then, I was no longer a Lutheran school, and most of the satanic panic was done. Yeah, yeah, I was never in a religious school, so um, demons and devils. Yes. Yeah, like I said, I never played in the army. It was just not something that my particular unit did. My unit was super top heavy too because I mean my first unit was, yeah, even my first unit, because I was always in the S4, which if you're not familiar with, that's kind of like the logistics operations, quartermaster corps kind of thing, and the S4. tends to be very top heavy. All right. So my the head of my S4 when I first went in was a lieutenant colonel, and then he had two majors, two captains, and I had two sergeant majors and a master sergeant, and then me. All right, a private. When I actually have private first class, which is what I entered in. That was my section structure. Was I was the I was the first low ranking enlisted person in the section when I got there, and it was like there was nobody else. It was like so um, yeah, there was no. Well, first of all, it would have been mostly fraternization with so many officers. It was very few, and both of my um, both of my sergeant majors were both Vietnam vets. All right, and virtually all of them, uh, including the female officers, we had two female officers. Virtually all of them were cops, virtually all of them, because it was a reserve unit at this point, and virtually all of them were police officers, whether it be NYPD or Nassau or Suffolk County police. And then when I transferred to the police unit, the military police unit, it was even more so the case. Um, Although a little bit less top heavy in my section, but still, more officers than enlisted, and most of the enlisted were higher ranking, NCOs. And then it was just me as a specialist, and eventually we ended up with three privates. Once I made sergeant, then I had three privates beneath me, and it was still a fairly top heavy section. So yeah, we didn't play. Let's just put it that way. We didn't play anything like that. You know, Once in a while we would play cards for the most part, and then when it's in the carpool, we would do more or motor pool, I should say. Or in the motor pool, that's where we're shooting dice and stuff like that. Not having a hotel room, yeah. Well, that's the Air Force, um, when we used to go to Fort Dix. Um, Fort Dix had two different. It was Fort Dix, which was the Army portion, and then McGuire Air Force Base, which is where we used to go for chow. Because you always wanted to go to the Air Force Base for breakfast, because they had a great chow hall there for breakfast, and that was that was the thing. It was like, oh my God, they have like a like there isn't even a civilian restaurant that used to compare to, just think of like a Denny's breakfast buffet, but high end. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything. They had everything on demand too. It's like, they'll make your fresh pancakes there, and omelets and all kinds of stuff. Just great food there. Max had probably been to McGuire Air Force Base.
Hey, DM Bloodworth, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna have to
All
go.
right.
I gotta take care of these kids. So
All right. Well, have fun, and it was good meeting you and talking to you.
you as
And you're
well.
welcome to come on anytime. I'll do more of these live streams every once in a while.
All right.
I gotta keep on pumping them out there.
Hey, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. You
Um,
have a good one. Take care.
you too.
All right. Let's see. Mac, hey, how's it going? My biggest regret was not being able to join. Football destroyed my knee. Wanted to be a Marine since I was a young boy. Papa's a Marine. And at least one of my sons became a Marine. Well, congratulations on all of that, and thank all of them for their service. And not I almost didn't get in either. Actually, I have a virtual flat foot. I mean, it's so marginally close to being a flat foot that they almost didn't let me in. And I had to beg the army doctor to let me in. I was like, my father's a World War II vet. They're looking to bring us in. In 1990, they were talking about drafting, and I was like, I want to be able to, join under my own terms and get the MOS that I want and whatnot. And and then that's when they, the doctor was like, "Well, your feet might break with the boot." And I was like, "Oh, if that does, then I guess they'll send me home." And he let me. He signed the not a waiver. He just kind of looked the other way for it, and I was able to join. Let's see. you don't want you don't want the wrong kind of sandbox. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was anxious to go and like excited to go. And then when I got there, I mean the it's no fun being a heat casualty um, as often as I was at the time, and it was like, and it did go over so fast that that the opportunity to go home just came up. After 6 weeks, it was like, all right, we're going to start cycling everything down. At this point, we need some people, especially in our section, some people to go home early, go stateside to continue the operations from there. Yeah, yeah. And like I said earlier, it was certainly my pleasure. Same thing for Max. Thanks for your service as well. And yeah, it's a it's something that we always enjoy. Um, let's see. I went to Fort Dix for training, combat camera, and got yelled at by some army because E8 because I didn't bust my own tray. Jesus. We have people that do that for us. Hey, O'Neill, how's it going? Um, yeah, yeah, but I'm surprised you weren't eating over in at the Air Force Base there. So let's see. Do you have any contact info listed or prefer any social media in particular? Um, so you see that scan up top there? That is my YouTube channel. Not my YouTube channel. I'm sorry. That is my X account. So you can go there and follow me on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. Um, I also have, if you want to reach me like more directly through my email address, I'll put that there because I am at, no, wait, I'm sorry. That's my email address. And then you're welcome to reach out to me there if you want to, collaborate on a video or something like that. I am also on, obviously, I'm on YouTube, and that's probably how you're seeing this. I'm also on Facebook. Now, Facebook, I don't use my real name on Facebook. So that's my real name. That's my name on Facebook. So on Facebook, you'll find me at Edward James Bloodworth on Facebook. And let's see what else. Yes, I have a Discord, and I can link my Discord link. Let's see. Um, da, 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 Discord. I'm going to put the Discord link there. I'd really appreciate everybody that hasn't already gone to my Discord to go there because I'd love to get this a lot more active. Um, oh, I see someone put my Twilight 2000 on there. Let's see. Oh, here we go. And let's make this. All right, here comes my Discord. And there's my Discord. So you are. Wow, it went in twice. That's weird. There's Discord. So you can link in there. And just let me know that you came in through the stream. And I'll give you a player tag. And that will open up a lot more of the Discord to you as well. Um, let's see what else we got here. And someone probably just signed up now. Hey, Grognard, great. And I am going to give you, Grognard, a couple of tabs as soon as I'm going to add you as a friend. And I'm going to add a role for players. So now you can jump into everything. You should have access to virtually everything on the Discord. So on the Discord, let me do a share screen, and I will share Discord with you guys. This I've never done before, so this is something I should have been doing for quite some time. Nope, that's not it. I think this is it. Okay, here you go. So this is my Discord channel. This is Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. And you can see we have general rules. I don't do any of this crap, to be honest with you. I do not feel the need I have to moderate my channel at all. General, so there's Grognard. Max always puts up his stuff, so great to see that Max is frequently here. So some random RPG live stream, you know, I kind of miss your chill stream. I know the random is fine. It works the same way. Let's see. I have all the various OSR live streams, so a lot of other people put their live streams on here as well. OSR games we talk about. So here we have a bunch of stuff coming from Pupic Dad. I'm not sure who that is. But he's been putting up some AD&D solo, Greyhawk solo campaign episodes. That's really cool stuff. Elrad Wolfsbane runs a lot of things too, so great stuff to check out there. Let's see who else has things. Lord Mateus is putting up his Shadow Dark game, right? So this is a great place to check out stuff that people are running. Here's Dicebringer, and he is doing Myths and Masters, an old school high fantasy role playing game. Then I have my Basic Fantasy that I'm getting ready to run a new campaign for Basic Fantasy. Then my Castles and Crusades. So this is, of course, one of my more active gaming communities here. My Fallout group. So I have a small group running through Fallout, 4 players right now, and that's going pretty well. Call of Cthulhu, I was running this, and then we kind of fell off. It was too hard to schedule that. Same thing with my Shadow Dark. My Shadow Dark campaign kind of came to an end because one of my players passed away, and then it was just hard to get it back up and running again. It was a shame. Traveler RPG, we didn't start running it yet. This was one of the few that I was going to be a player and not actually running it, and it hasn't picked up yet. Um, Igsburg is my Castles and Crusades set in Gary Gygax's world. So have all of that here. Then miniature painting. This is mostly, Cal has some stuff on here. CK Stan is Ducato. Uh, Stan does a lot of stuff. I mean, he's constantly putting up all his work here. And then I have my voice chats where I usually running my games. So that is the channel. So you are all welcome to jump in on that, and I will stop sharing. And we're back here now. So yeah, definitely check out that stuff. Some random live stream uh, is changing to Game Master Insights in 2025 to better reflect the content. You're welcome to join on the panel. Oh yeah, absolutely, I would love to. Um, yeah, I'd certainly love to because I know that I was doing a series of helpful tips and hints and those kinds of things. But I'd love to sit on a panel, and so yeah, I'll definitely touch bases with you on doing that. And if you're just let me know when you're like looking to schedule those. Um, because my Fridays might open up. I'm not too sure, or I do every other Friday. My Castles and Crusades campaign, a game that I'm playing in, I do every other Friday. So if you're looking to do something like every other Friday, or certainly Saturdays, I'm almost always free Saturday nights. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Your stuff always comes on my channel, which I'm happy. I'm happy for it because all right, I'll check out that topic. Um, yeah, just the other day it was coming up, or yesterday, or maybe even today. At some point today, it was coming up that it was I just drew a blank. Just recently, it came up that that issue, that back and forth between the two of. I don't even think it's been back and forth, but I haven't watched all of your 5 hour live stream yet to see where he was briefly brought up, but he certainly did plenty of responses since then. So, other things that are coming up in the hobby that we should all be concerned about. I know that a lot of, or maybe not necessarily concerned at all about. Um, let's see. I'm seeing more and more feedback on the uh, new DMG and I'm seeing a lot of negative about the new D&D 5e DMG 2025 or 4, whatever they're going to call it. Who the hell knows? Um, oh, you talked about him at the end. All right, so I'll have to double check that. And I mean, there's not that much that people are really talking about. Um, like positive about with the new Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. Um, it's not something that I'm going to spend time with as far as talking about it, going over it, and um, because it's just not the game system that it was when it first came out. Let's say that much, that it's not the three core rule books, and it has gotten progressively worse. I'd say starting around 2019. Oh, excuse me, around 2019, it started declining with Tasha's. In my opinion, that's when it stopped being Dungeons and Dragons. I think that also correlates with the around the time that they removed Mike Merles from lead design, and he was replaced with with oh gosh, their names just slipped my mind, Perkins and Crawford, and I don't think either of them are decent at what they do. So of course the game was going to take a downturn from there, and and then the others coming in are just as bad, if not worse, less experienced and just um, wrong-minded for the Dungeons and Dragons IP, in my opinion. So um, there you have it. There are some channels that claimed it was uh, the best DMG at first. At first they said it was one of the best, and then it slowly declined. Yeah, yeah. Hyperborea is a great system. It really is. Um, and I got to get back to covering it a little bit more. Um, I'm gonna have to do some shelf shifting and everything. So Hyperborea is gonna probably move on up towards the top of my shelf or immediately over my shoulder there. And my Castles and Crusades, I'm gonna need to fill in that whole bottom shelf down there because if I have 10 more books or 10 to 12, 14 more books coming in, I need that full length bottom shelf for all of my Trollard game stuff. I'm just going to have to move on up in the thing in space wise. I'm a 2E guy, but I don't know how anyone can argue against the one DMG not being the best. Um, I mean, not for nothing. Um, the AD&D First Edition Dungeon Master's Guide is a formatting mess. All right. It's so hard to pull a consistent train of thought through the way that is put together. However, um, the game system that it creates is, in my mind, probably the best version of Dungeons and Dragons that is out there as far as advanced play is concerned. Um, the best version of D&D, in my opinion, starting to start new players in either Dungeons and Dragons or the hobby in general, is still D&D Backmate. Um, you break out that red box, and you will convert non-players into players in this hobby super fast. Um, it is just so much fun to play in that. It's so much fun to run it, and it's so easy for new players to pick up just a general sense of what tabletop role playing is meant to be and what Dungeons and Dragons is meant to be as well. And then take them right from there into AD&D. All right, so first edition, and then once you've run that for quite some time, then I would roll them into, for ease of play but better quality, into Castles and Crusades, and now you've created the full evolution, and probably the best, in my opinion, again the best going forward, and teaching someone how to really become immersed into the hobby and into Dungeons and Dragons in particular. Yeah, the overall content, that's what I'm saying too, is the overall content of it, the game mechanics, and how it's designed, with the exception of the grappling system, which even Gary Gygax was like, no, that was a mess. But um, for the most part, it's probably the best. These whippersnappers, yeah. Yeah, I was unsuccessful getting my daughters to pick it up. Maybe if I had sons, it would have been possible. Ooh, I know that's probably sexist, but it's uh, it's just a reality. Can't go wrong with basic fantasy, exactly. Um, can't go wrong with Castles and Crusades, even though it's not quite an OSR. It's not a retro clone. Castles and Crusades is not a retro clone, um, but um, it is certainly a system that has enough uniqueness to it that you can see that it's connected to Dungeons and Dragons, but it's a totally different game system. It really is. Um, ah, well, say hello to your wife for me, Max, and thanks for popping in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch the tail end of that live stream of yours to see what he's yapping about. Nope, you can't beat the price. It's either free or like $9 for the core rulebook. I just got the fourth edition, and absolutely love it. Getting ready to start a new campaign with it. I'm thinking sometime in January. Yeah, hopefully, hopefully a lot of the tourists do leave it. Hopefully they get out of it, and we don't need big numbers. We really don't. Um, you can only have, you can only have between, like, let's say, ideal size table is probably like 4 players, but I wouldn't say more than 8. Yeah, if your table is full, your table's full. You have enough players. I don't need the hobby to be big. I really thought I could get them to play the Stranger Things version of D&D, and they were like, "What, reading? No, we like the boys. We don't like the game that they're playing." Yes, I have them in PDF, and I've looked them over and everything. I really like Joe Block's Adventures Dark and Deep as well. Yeah, yeah. No, I know Mac. Mac. I'm just kind of half joking. I'm waiting for Axe. I'm waiting for the hardcovers to come in. I'm really looking forward to running that. Can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to get the books. Um, yeah, once I get those books, I'm going to start really digging into them. And I have a feeling, although I haven't seen them yet, obviously, but I have a feeling that they're going to be absolutely gorgeous books too. So I'm really excited about that. See, that's what we should do. We should form an Axe group, and one of you can DM, and I will be a player in any of your groups. If you want to play online, since I think we're all scattered throughout the entire country here, but if you want to run Axe, whether it's Cal or Roger or anyone else, and you want to do it online, I will make room in my schedule to play in your game. But very swingy. Yeah, that's one good way to put it. Yeah, it is a very haphazard game to play. You don't quite know what's going to happen with it. Swingy, I think it means it's just like so random. There's like such randomness to it that you'd be hard pressed to be able to predict with any certainty what might happen, and that includes game mastering it as well. I mean, it is such a um, like anything with like wild magic is going to really set it up going. So second shot. Let's see. All right. So well, that too, but I think even in its adventures, no, the game mechanics are, when you have wild magic, yeah, you're constantly rolling on random tables to see what are the various outcomes and everything like that. Um, it's not crunchy in a sense, but it's just there's so many different possibilities than just rolling one die. Yes, very random. It's a great time though. Yeah, you will have a blast with it. Um, Weird Frontiers is even more so because now you're introducing a deck of cards too that come into play and add even more weirdness to it. Yeah, maybe I just blow out a candle. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Gonzo was the word I would use to describe, yeah, DCC. Yeah, it's very gonzo. It's very mixed bag and all good. It's a good mixed bag. You won't regret it. All right, Max, I just grabbed your invite on Discord. Okay. So, oh wow, it's already 10:12. All right, everyone. I'm going to probably wrap this one up. So thanks everyone for stopping in. I had some good in games products, but since they went somewhat woke, I don't buy from them anymore. Sold the stuff about 14 years ago. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm still going to play DCC when I get the opportunity to. Um, it's just I really like Savage Worlds also, so that's an awesome system to play also. So there's just so much out there. So anyway, everyone, yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up too. I got to check on my dog and wrap up a few other things before my family is coming home early tomorrow morning, so got to make sure I got everything all set up for them. So you all have a great one, and I will do another live stream before the end of next week, and then take the week off for the holidays, and I will be back uh, early in uh, early in January, right after the holiday break. I might do a live stream. Let's see. I will probably do. I could probably do a live stream again next Saturday night, and then I might actually be good with the next 3 Saturdays. I might be able to do Saturday nights on a regular basis. Um, this had a nice turnout, so maybe I'll start running Saturday nights. I don't think I step on too many toes Saturday night either. So there's that as well. So I appreciate everyone's stopping in. Remember to hit that. I will put the Discord link in once again. So if you haven't joined my Discord server, jump right in there, and you can share your stuff on my Discord server. I do not moderate it in any real way. I don't care what you put up there, for the most part, as long as it's legal. Uh, so don't go too crazy, but I don't care what you're putting in there. Just try to stay germane to what each of the categories are, but there are general chats in there as well where you can basically bring up anything that you wish to. So there are several channels live now. Oh, cool. All right. Well, I started at 8, so I don't think there were too many then. But anyhow, yeah, I'll see if I got a couple chores to wrap up before 11 o'clock, and then I can I can check that out and see. So everyone, you have a great one.